Hi everyone, my name is Gerard and I'm the CEO for Western Europe and the Americas from the Runa Group. As you may know, the Runa Group is a business incubator that I personally joined in early 2008, and we build and manage companies around the world. Now, prior to my corporate career, I worked in military intelligence, and my specialization was interview and interrogation there. It's very interesting, very rewarding work, but after 6 years of doing it, I decided to leave the intelligence community and pursue a career in business instead. And I very quickly learned that my training and experience in detection of deceptive behavior would be at least as usable in the business sector as it was in the intelligence sector. Because as I very quickly discovered, everything in business is about the ability to understand and communicate with people that you meet and that you work with. And these can be your business partners, your superiors, your employees, your co-workers, your customers, basically everybody you get into contact to, and where it's very important to understand people's behavior. Now, lie detection, or deception detection as it's called professionally, is a very important skill to have. But did you know that tests show that people detect only 40% of the lies they're told? Even trained psychologists score on average no higher than 62% in lie detection, and in average only 55% in detecting truths. And these are trained body language experts. Among experienced law enforcement officials, by the way, the test results are slightly higher but roughly the same. It's about 66 and 56% respectively, according to a test done by the University of California a few years ago. However, when these same people that are trained in are then trained in lie detection, that we also train in our training, then the results show that all groups detect around 85% of the lies and around 77% of the truths. You see, there is outside the intelligence community not much research done in the field of lie detection. There are almost no schools or courses that teach it. And so, if they teach it, then it's usually something like a complementary package or something that is added to a course, or a side product, like in a course, for example, of behavioral psychology. As such, the knowledge that I got in this field really helped me to get a large advantage over 99.9% of the people that I dealt with who never had a similar training. My first job in business was as a business development manager for large accounts for a Dutch-managed telecommunication company in Eastern Europe. And this was the first job in which I tested my lie detection skills in the field of commerce. And I say lie detection because, what you learn in lie detection, in deception detection, is not just the lie detection part. First and foremost, you learn a framework to recognize how someone thinks. So you learn to recognize how somebody thinks and how people reach their decisions. And this is very important because you cannot accurately identify a lie if you don't know how somebody reaches his or her decisions. Think about it. Like an innocent, shy person, for example, can look very, very guilty because he doesn't like confrontations, and he doesn't like to be in the pinpoint situation. He doesn't like it when people look at him and are angry with him. And therefore the person may look very, very guilty. And on the other side, an extroverted personality, like a very outgoing person who is guilty, can look extremely innocent, reliable, certain, although he's none of those things. Now, another benefit of the training that I got was that I learned how to communicate with each personality type. For example, to one person, a loud voice, can mean a threat, while to another one, it simply is a means that he tries to get his point across or to communicate a higher level of emotion. For some people, approaching someone, it can be like a client to ask for a sale, or to cold call somebody or whatever. It can be intimidating, while another person can see it as a mean to make friends. Another benefit of my training was that it allowed me to determine very fast if customers were really interested in my proposition or whether they were not. And both save you money, believe me. And I would know if they really had a better offer from their competitor, or where the customers really meant it when they said that the board will decide in a week, or we're really interested in your proposal, or we really like what you have, we support you internally, and stuff like this. And because I could understand people and I could know the right way that things were done, I also knew how to ask the right questions, and I knew which those right questions were. And most of all, I could use these techniques to build strong and very lasting personal connections with my customers and colleagues. So to make a long story short, I finished my first year in that first job with a new record in sales within that multinational company, which in itself was great, especially because I was completely a rookie. I mean, I was completely new to the field of either telecommunication or sales. I mean, I knew absolutely nothing about it. I learned fast, but I mean, I knew nothing about it. And I kept using these skills over the years, and all the jobs that I did after this resulted literally in many millions of euros in sales for the companies that I work for. And now, at this moment, as I work as CEO for the Rune Group, we nearly quadrupled the turnover of the company since I started in 2008, and our profits grew to nearly 4 times when compared to that same year. Of course, this was done by the great and dedicated people that work in our company and its divisions, but as CEO, it really helped me that I could assist to this growth by seeing into the minds of my people, my customers, suppliers, and so forth. Not even so much from the point of lie detection, but really from a human point of view, where I'm able to understand the feelings and the emotions and the motivations and the actions of people. And of course, like if somebody would be telling me that wasn't true, then that of course definitely helped also a lot. Now, many people, they have a bit of a wrong idea about lie detection. They've learned that if somebody looks away, or if somebody scratches his nose or his eyes, or if someone turns red or white, or if somebody makes a lot of eye contact or breaks eye contact or stuff like that, then this means that somebody's lying. And in behavioral cues, they believe that if somebody sits on the point of his chair, or reacts nervously to a question and maybe gives very aggressive answers, then this means that people probably lie. But in reality, nothing is further from the truth. I mean, let's look at what a lie is. There are many descriptions out there, but the one that we use is that a lie is nothing else than an alternative truth, which is being presented to the listener or listeners because the person that tells the lie feels that the truth is not acceptable to the listener. And that is all. So to repeat that, a lie is nothing else than an alternative reality which is created to be acceptable to the listener. And this can be made up information which is given to the listener, but it also can be truthful information which is not told to the listener for that same reason. So a lie can be information which is given, but it can also be truthful information which is withheld. Yeah, so both can be lying, and actually both things we learn how to recognize in this training. Now, let's say, for example, that somebody wants to have a job as a sales manager, but that the person does not have the requirements or the required management experience. Now, if he would put the truth on his CV, that he would be, he doesn't have the experience, then he probably wouldn't be invited to the interview, because that piece of information would not be welcome to the interviewer. So what the person does then is that he creates 2 storylines. In the first storyline, which you see here as the first storyline on top of this slide, sales rep and year 1, 2, and 3. This is the first storyline, and this is the storyline that he keeps in his head, and in which he follows the truth. So he works for a company as a sales representative for company XYZ, for example, without personnel responsibility, so no management experience, for 3 years, and he had moderate results. I mean, not bad results, moderate. I mean, he did his job well, but like that. Now, the second storyline, however, that he creates, and that is the one you see below, with sales rep and then sales manager starting year 2. So in that storyline, and this is the storyline that he actually writes down in his CV and that he talks about on the interview, he writes that he started as a sales representative for company XYZ, but that after 1 year he was promoted to the position of sales manager, and that he led a sales team of 8 people with great success. Now, for good measure, because usually when people prepare these lies, they prepare them smart, he also agrees with 2 friends in the company that they will serve as references for him, and that they will confirm this story, so the second storyline, when somebody calls them to pull references. That's interesting, right? But this happens actually very often. In our experience, at least 70% of the CVs we receive contain information which is completely either made up, or it's highly changed to look better than the real results that the person reached. Now, hardly ever will you catch a person like the one above on body language clues alone. These people came well prepared, they're ready to tell the lie, they no doubt rehearsed it, and most important, they have a large benefit weighting if they succeed in fooling you in terms of a better paying job than they had, a better position. It can be anything that is of importance. So they usually are willing to go the extra mile. Now, when this person comes for an interview to you, he will start to tell the story truthfully. So basically, he will start in the left top corner, sales rep, year 1, and he will tell truthfully about this. But then he will change to the second made-up history to tell the second part when, you know, the year 2 sales rep wouldn't be acceptable. So he switches to the second story of sales manager in year 2. And for the duration of the story, he will switch back and forth between the two histories. So he will tell according to the truthful line when what he can tell is acceptable. But if something would not be acceptable, then he switches to line 2 and sometimes even to line 3, where they create a reality and then an alternative reality, and then they realize that the alternative reality also would not be completely the best option to tell, so they can even sometimes create a third storyline. And this jumping between these storylines causes various changes in the person's behavior, which are hidden but which can be detected. And some candidates, they show visible signs of this jumping among the histories, and others do not. I mean, and that's why it's so important to understand like how somebody reaches his decision, because based on that, when you make the right character assessment, you already can detect how somebody should act, and if somebody does not act in accordance with that, then something in itself is already weird. So to make it more difficult even than that, they usually have a full suite of tricks on their sleeve to mislead us by camouflaging these reactions and make us believe that they really have the experience that they claim to have. Now, for the trained observant, this person will show what we call clusters of behavior, and these clusters are unmistakable and easy to spot once you know what you're looking for. And this is where the total deception detection blueprint training comes in. In our training, we teach you an easy to follow and very powerful system to detect lies, and which is the same as the one taught to specialized military and police investigators, but enlarged to include the requirements that corporate and business customers have to these trainings. Now, the total deception detection blueprint has a theoretical part and a practical part. In the theoretical part, we teach you 6 blocks in 6 webinars, and this builds the foundation of your knowledge. If you master these 6 simple but very complete blocks, then you will get an insight into people that is almost magical. And that's not only for work, by the way. I mean, once, for example, I went for a drink with a friend, and the evening before I had amused him and a few friends by guessing what their colleagues were like. That particular night we were sitting in a corporate party from their company, and we were sitting and watching their co-workers, both male and female, and they would point at someone and they would challenge me to guess that person's character traits. And I was not allowed, I didn't know these people of course, and I was not allowed to talk to them or to overhear their conversations. And all I could do was sit in a distance, watch